Tonight the story is about a young boy who was only 3 years and a half who learned how to swim. One day, it was a lovely hot day, and the sun was shining very brightly. All the bees were buzzing, the birds were singing, the grass was green, and all the flowers were wide open, pointing towards the sun, soaking up the warm sunlight. The little boy said to his daddy, "Daddy, it's so hot. Can we get the paddling pool out in the garden?" "Of course," said his daddy. "You can go in the paddling pool." So the daddy got the paddling pool, he blew it up, and then started to fill it with water. Warm water from the kitchen tap, so it wasn't going to be cold. Very soon, the little boy jumped into the water and splashed and laughed and giggled and played. He had some toys in the water as well. There was a toy boat and a fish and a couple of ducks, toy ducks of course, with different colours like red and yellow and blue and green and purple. And he played with his ducks and he played with his boats, and then he jumped in the water and splashed and kicked his legs and splashed and made a lot of noise and giggled and laughed and had so much fun. He was really enjoying himself. It was a wonderful day in the paddling pool, and his daddy was nearby watching him to make sure he was all right. And the little boy kept saying to his daddy, "Daddy, Daddy, come in the water, it's such fun." Well, the daddy couldn't resist any longer, so he went and put his swimming trunks on and climbed into the water with his little boy. And together they splashed and then threw balls to each other and had a great time in the water. "Look, Daddy," said the little boy, "I can swim," lying on his tummy and going from one end of the paddling pool to the other. "Well," said Daddy, "it looks a bit like swimming, except this isn't very deep, and I think you're touching the bottom." "Yes, Daddy, I can swim, I can swim, I can swim," said the little boy. "Well," said Daddy, "I think I'd better take you to the swimming pool one day." The next day was just as hot, and the little boy said, "Daddy, can I go in the paddling pool again?" And Daddy said, "I have an even better idea. Why don't we go to the swimming pool?" So they got in the car and drove all the way to the swimming pool, went inside, paid their money to go in, changed into their swimming costume, and then jumped into the water, which was a little bit deeper, and Daddy and the little boy jumped together, and the daddy could put his feet on the bottom, but the little boy couldn't. "Okay," said Daddy, "let's see if you can swim." So the little boy quickly found out that he could not swim. So Daddy said, "But don't worry, I will teach you." And first the daddy said, "Let's try kicking your legs. You hold on to the edge of the swimming pool with your arms like that, lie on your tummy, and kick your legs as hard as you can, for as long as you can, keeping your arms straight." So the little boy kept his arms straight, lay on his tummy, holding onto the edge of the pool with his hands, and started to kick his legs. What a splashing it made. Splash, 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 splash. Daddy was really pleased with his little boy. "That's right, you're doing it well. Now we'll try it the other way up. Lie on your back, put your arms behind your head, hold on to the edge of the pool, and kick your legs." And the little boy did that, and it went another big splash. And the little boy really enjoyed the splashes he was making. He tried to make bigger and bigger splashes by kicking harder and harder. "All right," said the daddy. "Now the next lesson we're going to do is you're going to lie on your tummy, and I will put a little float underneath you from the swimming pool. This is a polystyrene float which floats on the water and keeps your body out of the water a little bit." And he put the float under the boy's chest and said, "Now you lie on your tummy and try and move your arms like this," showing the little boy a paddling motion with his hands.
You put
Like
your hand
this.
here.
Yes.
You put your hand here. And with one hand and last one like that.
That's right, just like that. That's how you swam. The little boy was swimming with the paddling motion, using his hands, both hands at the same time, kicking his legs at the same time, he got the idea. And, well, he was swimming, except, of course, he had a float under his tummy and his chest holding him up, and the daddy was also got his hand there to make sure he was okay. But he was swimming, and he was going forwards, and the little boy did a few lengths like that with daddy. Look, daddy, I'm swimming, I'm swimming. And daddy said, yes, you are. You're swimming just like a grown-up. Except, I wonder if I dare to take the float away. I'll tell you what, we'll go in the very shallow water where you can touch the bottom. I'll take the float away, we'll see how you do. That way you won't be afraid. So they went in the little children's pool, which isn't very deep. It's only as deep as your waist. And then daddy asked the little boy to lie down on his tummy and start paddling. Daddy put his hand under the boy's chest to make sure he's out. And lo and behold, the boy started paddling. And gradually the daddy moved his hand away, and the boy was still swimming, holding his head high up above the water, breathing, a bit frightened of putting his head in the water. Of course, there's no need for that, but he was. And he was paddling as fast as he could with his hands. They call it a doggy paddle, like a dog's paddle like that. Later on, he's going to learn how to do crawl and butterfly, other strokes and breaststroke. But usually when you start, you learn doggy paddle, which is like that. Paddling with both hands like that. And the boy's paddling and paddling, and he could float, and he could swim, and he could keep his head out of the water. Oh, he was so pleased. And then he asked Daddy, can we go back to the swimming pool tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after, and the day after, and the day after? Well, the daddy explained he has to go to work, but he did say, tell you what, if it's sunny next weekend, we'll go to the swimming pool. And sure enough, it was sunny the next weekend. And they went to the swimming pool, and the little boy could swim even better the next time. And they kept going for a long time, and every time they went, the little boy became better and better at swimming until the day came when there was no doubt he could swim just like a grown-up. He knew how to do the breaststroke, he knew how to do the crawl, he knew how to do the butterfly, and he could also do the backstroke, where you swim on your back. What a clever little boy. And Daddy was really proud of him. Well done, my little boy, he said.
I can do a butterfly too, look. He did.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to do that?
Yes, that's what he's moving his hands to paddle. But later on he could do the backstroke and the front freestyle and crawl and breaststroke and butterfly and all the other strokes that exist in swimming. And he was very good at kicking his legs, and he knew how to do it just right. And the daddy and the little boy were really happy, and they didn't really need the swimming pool anymore. Well, they didn't need the paddling pool anymore. They did need to go to the swimming pool if they wanted to swim a long way. And soon, after a few months of practice, when the daddy and the little boy went together, they could swim side by side in the big pool for adults. The little boy wasn't frightened at all, because he knew his daddy was always near him, but they would swim together, and sometimes they'd have a race to see who would win. Who do you think would win the race?
Aiden.
Aiden, yes, I think so. Anyway, they'd often have a race, and sometimes Aiden won, sometimes Daddy won.
Uh-huh.
And that's the end of the story.